What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Jinx Hammer podcast. Today we got a special episode for you guys. A special guest on the host of the KAJ Sports YouTube channel, as well as the most popular Saints fan page out there. You guys that are Saints fans that are watching this probably heard of it, Whodatsnation. So it's an honor for us to have him on. Kadin, Janisch, welcome in.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be on and talk football with you guys.
Yeah, of course. So basically, we're going to start off because obviously you're a big Saints fan. I'm a Saints fan. Hammer's the Packers fan of the podcast. That we don't talk about that. But basically, how did you become a fan, and what are your worst and best memories as a Saints fan so far?
So I became a fan like 2011-ish. I think I was like 6-ish years old. I saw like the logo. I liked the bottom of like the ticker of like a 49ers game, and I thought that was cool. So just kind of stuck with it. First game I ever watched was the Saints and Lions wild card game. And I think that was 2011.
Yeah. One of those years.
As for worst moments, I don't know where to start. Definitely the no call. Vikings miracle.
There's a bunch.
This past season against the Packers, 17-0. I'm kidding.
I mean that's bad, but I don't know if like worst ever. The Buccaneers one hurt because that was Drew's last game.
Yeah, Hammer and I were just talking about that before you came in. How he lost that. It's just
like the loss itself wasn't like it sucked, but it hurt more because it was Drew's last game as opposed to it. Like the loss wasn't as bad as like the no call or the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Best moments. Probably 17 and 18 season because I don't get to watch the Super Bowl season. 2019 was cool, seeing Michael Thomas break the record.
Yeah, I'm a big MT guy. Hammer on the other end is not.
He's going to retire this year. Grayson thinks he's going to get signed by like the Chiefs and be this like 800-yard guy. Come on, no. Hang it up.
He could be.
No, he couldn't.
He was going to have 800 yards to a card try to kill him. But I mean, basically, best moments as a Saints fan, like 17 to 20, basically. Those are my favorite memories, moments.
Yeah, I mean, you're a younger guy like us. I mean, we were kind of right after the Super Bowl, and then it went to shit for a few years, and then we finally got some good football to watch. So I get it.
All right, so let's talk about this division, right? It's kind of, I think going into last season, it was probably known as the worst division in football. I think that was kind of the picture, right? And then this offseason, the Falcons get Kirk Cousins. That's a big signing. Panthers think they put good pieces around Bryce Young. Bucks, they won the division. They're bringing everyone back now. So what are your expectations for the Saints this year? And do you think like Derek Carr can be him? Do you think he can put this team above, maybe get him to the playoffs?
As for like the division, I think the Bucks will stay in the same area, like 9-10 wins. I think Falcons will be in that same range as well. Panthers, I think they're gonna be better, but not like anything to worry about. Mm-hmm. As for the Saints, I'm expecting like 7 to 9-ish wins, give or take injuries or weird 17-0 chokes. But Derek, I wanted Derek Carr at first, like last season. I wanted him so badly. Like I was like, it's either him or we're having like Sam Darnold back there. And then after the first Falcons game, I was like, okay, I can't take it. But keeping things fair though, like he did have injuries. The O-line sucked like the first 5-6 games of the year. Then it got okay. New offensive play caller. So I think he'll be okay, fine, better, but he is who he is at year 11. Like he is who he is. I don't think we're going to see a drastic change, but I think if the offensive play caller can be better and do his job well, he can make Carr look better than he actually is.
Yeah. No,
it sounds like Grayson, just a little bit more realistic. He was a big fan of Derek Carr, like getting him. Not a good year, but he's got the Saints at like 11, 12 wins this year. And I'm like, take it easy. Take it easy.
Ceiling. It's a ceiling. I think. Well, so here's my reasoning. I think like we get a new offensive coordinator in, then you get a new tackle because we're gonna need one without.
I really liked the Saints draft. It was like a great draft, A+ draft. It was good.
I think the defense is gonna be the same, if not a little bit better, right? So I think that helps as well. And record-wise or schedule-wise, we have like the same strength of schedule as last season. So obviously, barring injuries, things like that, I think Derek Carr can do better. Like you said, Kadin he just kind of has to do what he did the last 5 games of the year. Obviously, we're out of kind of any expectations at that point, but he was able to do that kind of thing throughout the whole season. I mean, 300 yards a game tops is like, that's kind of what you need from him. You can still run the ball with Alvin and now Kendre Miller. Jamal Williams might do something a little bit more than last year, but I mean, we'll see. But I think the Saints can do a little bit more than we did last year. So,
yeah, I think the team overall is better, or at least offensively, they'll be better. I don't know how it can get worse. The strength of schedule thing's interesting. I think that we play the Panthers twice, that just brings it down immediately. Yeah. Like we have like actual opponents and quarterbacks on this schedule now, as opposed to last year we were playing Danny DeVito, and if it wasn't him, then it was Daniel Jones. Like it wasn't like
nothing crazy.
I think the best quarterback we played was like Matthew Stafford. And
late in the season.
Yeah, and he lit us up. So the first portion of the schedule is tough. We have Mahomes, Dak in the regular season's like actually good.
Yeah, Dak week 2, man. I think the Saints, the first, like you said, the first kind of chunk section of the schedule is pretty tricky. I mean, if you can get out of there with a winning record, I like the Saints' chances of maybe winning the division or wild card, but it is tough, tougher than last year.
Yeah, and then go for it.
No, go ahead, Kadin. You're good.
I was again like if we get to the Broncos game, was that week 7, and we're like 3-3, like that's good. Like that's the toughest stretch of the schedule, and then from there on out, it's like Panthers and
throughout the bye week or through the bye week. It gets a lot easier. That's kind of what in the record prediction I did. I was like, I think we could beat the Cowboys just because like the Cowboys, I think the Saints usually play pretty well against them. So I'm interested in that matchup itself, but then like before the bye week, I think you go on a little bit of a run there and establish something going for you through the bye week. Next, really quickly, Kadin, we just wanted to ask, since Hammer's a Packers fan, we're playing the Packers late in the regular season, so it's going to be a little bit cold over in Lambeau Field. So it's going to be interesting playing grounds for Derek Carr and the rest of the team. That's an indoor stadium. I want to say, basically, what are your thoughts on this matchup? And also, what are your thoughts on Jordan Love, too? Just going to throw that in there for here.
As for the game itself, I don't like it. Derek Carr in a cold game, like, no. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I just don't want to see that. We don't know what the offensive running game is going to look like. Offensive line is huge question mark. If they can't run the ball, and we are having Derek Carr, who hates cold weather, throwing the ball 50 times in the snow or whatever, like that, you're losing that game. As for Jordan Love, I like him. I need to see one more year, but he's definitely in the better half of the league of like the better quarterbacks around the NFL. I think it's good that he has a young core receiver, so they figured all the mistakes and stuff out together, as opposed to if Devontae Adams was there, he already went through all that when he was younger. He already knows the system and all that. So they're all getting all the mistakes and all that together, which I thought was good. I was rooting for Packers in the 49ers game, and then Jordan Love.
I know
what that throw was.
Trying to do too much, but yeah. Good. All right. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kadin. I think that's kind of where we put him. We did our QB tiers, and it was like, I want to see one more year out of Jordan Love before I really put him into like that top 10, top 12. Hammer put him at like number 10, 11, 12, that range. And I was like, I could see him at like 14, something like that. Because he is top half. I mean, right now you look at the league and there's like the drop off after the top 15 quarterbacks is pretty
Gets ugly.
pretty big. So it's definitely a good thing for the Packers to have. I mean, the Saints, who knows? Maybe Derek Carr moves up this year, but he's definitely at like 20 in that range. He's just kind of average, but
yeah,
I don't mind it.
Yeah, so talking about Jordan Love, he's going to get paid this offseason. That's going to be interesting, right? I mean, the guy only played a full one season, and half of the season he played really well, other half not so good. So he's going to get paid a lot. Another quarterback that's going to get paid this offseason is Tua, his teammate. Jaylen Waddle just got a massive contract. He's now the fourth highest paid receiver in the league. So kind of what are your thoughts on Waddle getting a contract like that? Like being a receiver too and getting paid that much. And then do you think Tua's like worthy of like a $50 million contract?
I'll start off with Tua. No, I'm not. I would not pay him 50. I wouldn't.
Good.
I'd stay far away from that. For Waddle, the contract isn't bad. What he is like, what in the top 5 though, in like money per year or something like that now. Like,
yeah, he's number 4 now.
That's nuts for a wide receiver. I know it's like by year, and he actually isn't getting paid the 4th most, but that is like crazy for a number 2 guy to get paid that much. I think it's a good contract though. Like 3 years isn't like a super big commitment, and then he also has one more year left on his rookie contract.
Yeah, like 1 or 2. So it's really like he's like under contract for 5 more years.
Yeah, so the contract itself, I don't think is bad. I think the Dolphins did a good job, getting it done now, as opposed to like if they waited till next year, that number's gonna be ridiculous, like
34, something like that.
Yeah, which getting it done. Yeah.
Grayson is like he can't believe these contracts, and I'm like, it's just how the market's falling. He's like these quarterbacks, and I'm like, it's just this is what it is. Like, they're getting paid 25% of the team's cap, but it's just like what are you gonna do? Say no to a franchise quarterback? You need them to win, and just this is what it is. It's just the business.
What's crazy too, though, is like when you look at all the receivers that are getting paid, and then look at the teams that are winning the Super Bowl. None of the teams that are winning Super Bowls have a top guy. I think Cooper Kupp's like the only one. I think he got paid after that season or something.
Yeah.
Like Chiefs didn't have anyone the last 2 years, and then Bengals had Jamar Chase on a rookie deal. Like, they're not paying him $30 million. Like, it's insane.
And that's the kind of what I've been saying with like quarterbacks as well, is like once you get in that 50 million range, especially for a guy like Tua, where you're paying 25% of your salary cap just for the same, like for one quarterback, like I just think it gets a little bit ridiculous. And I think that's possibly like I'm an accountant, and like I like money, numbers. I'm very frugal. Like I don't like spending. So it's like this kind of thing. It's like I just don't get. It doesn't make sense to me paying this much to one guy, especially when I brought it up how like Drew, like he kind of took a cheaper deal like his last 2 years, whatever, to kind of help the team and have some more salary cap for other guys. So it didn't make a lot of sense for me.
Yeah, just want to say the Packers receiving core for the next 2 years, there's like all of them combined for 20 mil next 2 years, like 6 guys. So now's the time. Now's the time to win. Now's the time to win.
The Saints are right there too right now, but it's not necessarily the same.
But we don't have the.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same.
It's Olave, and then
there's a little bit of a drop down. Yeah, I know.
What contract would you give Chris Olave? Like if you're doing negotiations right now, like what's the limit?
So I think max is 30 mil because you had another 2 years of the rookie deal at least.
Yeah.
So it'll be after that, probably 30 mil max. He is the receiver 1. Like we got to keep 30 that in mind.
So 30 mil will put him at 3 right now with Tyreek Hill.
It depends on when they get it done. I think it'll be after this season.
Yeah.
That's when the contracts can get done. Depending on the landscape of contracts for receivers, I think max you go 30 mil. Because obviously Chris Olave is good and he's been doing great things, but he's not a run after the catch guy. He's not going to be. He doesn't truck anyone. He's not
a touchdown machine.
He could be, but they don't throw him the ball in the red zone. But my point is like he's not that kind of guy like Devontae, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. That they all run after the catch really well. So if we see that from him after this year, then I think 30 mil kind of is where you give him that range. What do you think, Kadin?
If he has another season like he just had, I wouldn't go over 28. Like
28. Yeah, see, that's reasonable.
My biggest thing with Olave is like the contested catch stuff. Like the yards after the catch thing, like I think that's also a little bit quarterback and play caller the last 2 years. Like not the opportunity isn't there, but at the same time he does like just slide or go out of bounds like whenever he gets the ball. So it's like a 50-50 thing. But the contested catch thing is like a big issue for me. Like I hate that I'm doing this, but like comparing him to like Mike T, like his first 2 years, he was making like every catch thrown, every ball thrown his way, no matter the coverage. Whereas Olave, he relies like more on his route running, I guess, as opposed to his hands. And that's not like anything bad against his hands, but his route running makes him really good. I do know like he's building that up this offseason and stuff, but he got better at it last season, so hopefully he takes that next step.
Yeah, you want to see the consistency because he had those few like crazy catches. I mean, Hammer saw it in the Packers game, the one-handed on the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's just more consistent with it, then 100% you see that and you like that a lot more. For these, I mean, Saints had Mike Thomas, and before that they had Marcus Colston. These guys can make every catch wherever and make it happen. So you want to see that a little bit more. Now getting away from football a little bit, just to yourself, you've built such a huge following on Instagram, and you also have like 3,000 subs on YouTube on your one channel, and 22,000, I believe, on your Whodatsnation YouTube as well. So just what are some tips and tricks that you followed just as you grew that account or all of your accounts and that you followed throughout your career of social media?
Just, I guess, staying consistent. It can get hard, just like, I'm not getting the results I'm wanting to get. I will never get them, and then just kind of stop doing it. Just stay consistent, and as long as you enjoy doing it, just keep doing it. I've enjoyed what I've been doing, and I think that plays a factor. Like if you don't enjoy it, what's the point?
Yeah.
So you just stay consistent and make sure not to overdo it as well, because then you'll get burnt out and you won't want to do it. So yeah, I guess that's tips and tricks. I don't know, but.
How ecstatic were you when like the first Saints player followed you on your one account?
Oh, I was thrilled. I remember who it was. It was I don't know if you remember Darius Victor. He was like a preseason. Yeah, I was like, damn, like that's really cool. And then he like spammed me with like a whole bunch of likes and stuff. It was like a whole page of like Vito likes. Like I was like, damn, like I was super ecstatic. I was like 13, 14 at the time, so I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah, you started at a lot younger age, but that's awesome to hear too. Just even like someone that young, just like dedicating themselves to put like all that stuff out there to build up an account is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. So something we ask all of our guests, me and Jenks are pretty big nerds when it comes to movies and TV series. So like, what's your favorite movie or maybe your go-to TV series that you want to put out there?
Movie wise, I think my favorite movie of all time is Split. I don't know if you guys
Split. I'm not
M. Night Shyamalan, like Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass. Like perfect.
I've heard of them. I haven't seen them, so you're saying they're really good. Okay.
Yeah, but they're not for everyone. But I enjoy them a lot. TV shows, my go-to is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like
that's a good one. Yeah,
it's the go-to.
Are you a big comedy guy then? Like a sitcom guy?
I guess like I've seen like How I Met Your Mother, Scrubs, Friends. Like I enjoy the shows, but I also enjoy like Breaking Bad and like the non-comedy shows. What about you guys?
I mean, Hammer and I are both pretty big Marvel nerds. I mean, I'm bigger than him. Hammer likes I would say Hammer likes rom-coms, which is like.
I love a good rom-com.
Loves a good rom-com.
I'm a good rom-com.
I'm a big sitcom guy as well, like Parks and Rec. That was one of my favorites, and I binged It's Always Sunny. Like I think it was last year. I found it and binged it all. I've been trying to get Hammer to watch it too because it's just a good show. But I mean I'm a big. I don't know if you've heard of it, The Bear as well. I got Hammer to watch it.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
a good one. That's coming out with a third season, I think, this next month. So I'm excited for that. But I mean, all around, are you a Marvel guy at all, or not really into superheroes?
It wasn't really my thing until I can't remember which movie it was. Like one came out in 2018, and then I was like, okay, this is actually like really good. And then I think after that was like
It's getting
Endgame.
Infinity War.
Towards the end of it, though, with just in time for it. But I like the Spider-Man movies a lot.
Yeah, always good.
Yeah, because that was because if you don't like Marvel, then I don't know if we can like maybe have you on again. That's a big test, but I'm glad to hear you've watched a few of them at least. It's not a problem. Quick bonus question, something that just happened yesterday. Drew Brees inducted in the Saints Hall of Fame. Who would you rather have? And there's going to be bias here. I'm biased in it as well. Who is the better quarterback, Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers?
Drew Brees. I'm biased. I'm picking. I think Rodgers is more talented. Like talented physicals. Like I think he's better, and I think Drew Brees is like mentally smarter. I don't know if that makes sense. Like the pre-snap stuff. I know they both do it. They're both Hall of Famers, both top 5. But I'm just taking Drew. I watched him my whole life. I'm not picking anyone over him.
It's fine.
So.
Yeah, it's
fine. Against Rodgers.
I say the same exact thing, kid. Every time Hammer and I get in this argument, I'm like, Aaron is more talented. Like I will give Aaron that because he can run, like be on the run and throw like a ball 40 yards down the field, cross the side of cross his body, everything like that. Drew is just more precise. Like he uses his brains, everything like that.
Yeah.
And I just that's why I'm like Drew Brees, but it's definitely a bias.
If he's got all these brains and stuff, then why does he turn the ball over more than Rodgers?
Because he's throwing. Okay, I will say this.
Oh,
listen. It happens when he had that bad defense years. That's when he had a lot more picks because he was chucking the ball 10 times more. But
yeah, that's why he's got more yards.
Years to close the season, or the years to close his career, he had less turnovers and still had the same amount of yards and touchdowns and everything like that. Like he was still top 5.
But he never won an MVP.
Yeah, you got robbed. I'm not getting into.
Oh my god!
What was the reaction when Rodgers got traded?
That's a good one. I don't know. It was so like built up and like it wasn't just like breaking news. I think we saw it coming for months. So it's tough, a little heartbreaking, but like I don't know. This is a guy you watch growing up, but I don't know. It's coming. Everyone knew it was coming, especially when you drafted Jordan in the first round. But so I live in New Jersey and he's playing for the Jets 25 minutes away from my house. So like everyone around here was going nuts and like, I'm a supporter still. I want the Jets and him to do good. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he kills it this year after the injury, but yeah, tough, but
What about Devontae Adams? What was
Devontae? That
one was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere. That was not a happy night in my household. That was not good. That was, that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
Yeah, and then real quick, Kadin, who is like a young player on the Saints or someone that hasn't done a lot that you think will take a leap or that you want to take a leap for the upcoming season, and then we'll get you out of here?
Kendre Miller or Brian Brzee. Those are my 2.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, because do you think Alvin's on his way out? You think like Kendre kind of starts to take his spot this year, or do you think that's a year or 2 down the road?
I think like contract wise, Kamara's under like he has 2 or 1 more season, but financially it's like 1 more season or something like that. So the hope is that Kendre can take his spot, but at the same time you kind of don't, like emotionally you're like, no, you can't, but that's just how it goes.
I feel like Hammer kind of went through that with Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones is kind of like the similar guy to Alvin Kamara.
I mean, how old is Alvin? Like
28.
28. Like Jones is gonna be 30. So
Yeah, it's like, and I feel like that's where we're at right now. We're probably gonna be he's on his way out. It sucks, but you get
just
another running back in there.
Yeah, go bring in Josh Jacobs. So everything's good.
Kendra is gonna be the Josh Jacobs for us. Anyways, thank you so much, Kadin, for coming on. Everyone that's watching this, make sure to check his channels out on Instagram, Whodatsnation, the YouTube channel, Whodatsnation, as well as his personal YouTube where he posts all the NFL news, things like that at KAJ Sports. And then quick shout out, Hammer and I, as well as Kadin, are all on this app Bunches. If you want to talk to either of us or any of us personally, check us out on there. I'll put a link in the bio to join that, and then join the Whodats Bunches for all the Saints fans. Kadin and I are in there all the time talking to all other Saints fans. So quick shout out.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was nice. Have to come back at some point.
Totally. Yeah, mid-season or maybe after the Packers-Saints game, we can talk about it.
Yeah. It depends on how that game goes.
Yeah.
Hammer's the same way. If it goes badly, he just doesn't want to talk.
I don't want to talk. I won't be on. Yeah.
So anyways, thank you, Kadin. We'll try to have you back on here for sure. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Of course.